Listen to older voices. Living history on Ageless Radio. I'm Rob Greaves and I'm talking with Mary Davenport, and Mary is recollecting the time when her husband returned home after the Second World War.
We had nowhere to live, so at my parents' home they had a little room about the size of this with a 3-foot bed only.
And I assume Frank was a tall boy?
Yes, he was a big boy.
So, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, that's all we had.
But you had him back.
I had him back alive.
Exactly.
And I've just paid the last payment on the block of land.
Beautiful time.
Oh, he was so thrilled.
Yes.
Now, most of the fellows, when they came back and they received their gratuity and all this business, which was very generous of the government. So now he didn't, nearly all of them bought a car. But he didn't want a car, his nerves were too bad. Yeah. He said, I couldn't handle it. Yeah. And so we just put it in the bank and put it towards building our house.
Right.
And so anyway, he built our house on a push bike. You wouldn't believe it, would you? With bags of cement in the front handlebar.
Really?
Well, everything would get pinched off your job.
Wow.
I mean, that's another episode, building the house.
Well, I was going to say, he actually physically helped build it, did he?
Definitely. No one else was going to build his house. He part-time worked and part-time.
So he's working and building at the same time?
Brick by brick, stick by stick, he did it himself.
He must have been so proud of that.
I was.
You were?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is my time up yet?
Your time is nowhere near up yet. You've got years left. No, don't worry. You keep telling stories.
My stories.
So, the house was built. You obviously remember moving in. How exciting would that have been?
Well, that was quite an event because getting the bricks was, you had to wait for 18 months before your turn came around.
Of course, because the war just doesn't mean everything's available.
Everyone came home to get it. There'd been nothing made for the building during the wartime because everything was wartime related, you see. So it was a matter who you could get on with the black market, yes, or someone who knew someone.
Yes.
And my father had influential friends who helped us.
Well, as you said several times, you do what you have to do.
Yes, of course you did. Yes.
So brick by brick you built it?
Oh, yeah. And I postponed having a baby because because I had literally only this tiny room because my sister and her ex-Air Force husband and baby were in another bedroom. My parents said, and it was only an ordinary size house. We got on very well, though, as a family. My father saw to that. And so I was longing to have a child. And so I had quite an experience with it. I'll share it with you. My mother said, if ever a person really wants a baby, the good Lord will help them. And I thought, I'll put it to the test. So I became pregnant, and everyone was thinking, where's she going to put it? And that day, my husband came home from work on his bike, and he said, I passed that block of land, and there's a load of bricks on it.
How exciting, and hallelujah.
And they kept coming. It was only the scrub out of the brickyard, but by the time he built the house, it was like a clinker brick.
Yes.
Solid brick.
They don't make them like that these days.
No. I wouldn't want to have what they...
Exactly.
Yeah, it was a wonderful experience.
But then you had to furnish it, didn't you? That would have also been exciting. You had to furnish the house.
Oh, furniture was the last thing on earth you thought of.
Was it?
Oh, good
heavens, yes. You just wanted to get in.
My husband's father had an old bed he'd got from somewhere, a double bed. That was a treat for us. So when I went over there one day after my baby was born, I was still home, living in a the baby's bassinet and this bed and the husband's tools under the bed because we had nowhere to put them. But I thought one day, I'm going over, because we didn't have a car to get anywhere. I said to my sister, you mind the baby, and I'm going to get myself over and see if I have got a house. Because I hadn't even seen him building it.
Oh, you hadn't been
Because I couldn't get there.
Oh, you can't put you on a bike and you haven't got a car.
Yeah, you see, we didn't have a car.
Oh, you must have been chafing at the bit to get and look at it.
Oh, I'd learned to be patient. So I went over, and here he was in the kitchen doing the ceiling, lath and plaster, because you couldn't get anything else.
Right.
But he was tradesman in lath and plaster. My whole house was lath and plaster. So I went down the street and I saw there were 2 houses in the street. Of course, there's a whole lot of houses now.
Yeah, of course.
And I saw way down the end of the street, I thought, is that my house? I almost ran down the street. I had a house. I had a house.
Listen to older voices, revisiting through recollections.
And so he was in the kitchen when I walked round the back door, and he nearly fell over to see me, and he was doing the ceiling. And I said, I've come over to look at my house. Well, he had done the lounge and the dining room, and they had a floor and they had a ceiling. The rest of the house had no floors or ceilings, but it had a roof of tiles. And so when I saw that, I said, I'm moving in. He said, what? I said, I'm moving in. I've got a whole room here. So the next day, we got the carrier and Frank's father's old bed. Moved in. And we sat on boxes.
And didn't care.
No, I had it.
You had your home.
And there was no gas on. My father had friends all in the right places. So we were able to have a gas stove, which most people, but there was no gas to use it. And this person that my father knew made fire stoves too. So we had a fire stove to start up.
That's right.
No bath.
Doesn't sound like you cared.
Ah, no, we'd survived the war.
Exactly.
Oh, and it was great, because I was young then. And we had, yes, I loved it.
Yeah.
And I loved that fire stove.
Good to cook on?
Yes, it was beautiful. And I used to cook lots of rock cakes because it was so nice, and he ate everything. After the army, he'd eat anything. But it was a wonderful experience.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm a pioneer.
You are a pioneer. And, you know, as you're telling me the story, I can see your eyes light up. It's like we were talking about those memories.
Oh, I do.
Aren't they?
Yes. Yes.
So how many children did you end up having in that house?
Well, a couple of years later, I had my daughter, Catherine. Right. And then I lost my third miscarriage, so we thought that's the end of it. I wasn't a good candidate. I was ill all the time. And at any rate, years later, one of the ladies from the church came to me and said, you're going to adopt a baby. I said, are you kidding? I said, I have a son at university and the other daughter at high school. You tell me I'm going to adopt a baby? Yes, she said. It's due in about 2 weeks. I said, you're being funny. No, she said, I've just got the feeling you're the one for it. And lo and behold, I did. That's her.
Wow. What is meant to be?
Well, I had done the most ridiculous things in my life and had great success from them. I get more joy out of what I shouldn't do than what I do. Yeah. A few weeks later, opened the front door and here's a beautiful baby, only 5 days old. Yes, and she clung to me. And I've got the photo of her and my son and daughter. My son was at the university and kids, they adored her. Thoroughly spoiled her.
They had a sister.
You don't know how to bring up babies, but well, I mean, they thought they knew everything.
They still do today. It doesn't change.
And she's the one who looked after me. It was quite an experience.
Oh,
And
so what a magic time for you.
I've had some wonderful experiences,
Yes.
but I'm not scared to have a go.
Isn't that the secret to life, isn't it? You've got to put yourself out into it. It doesn't come to you. You've got to get out there.
Well,
Give it a
if
shake.
it sort of passes your way, you grab it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see you did too. You've taken all your opportunities. And that's why I think you're still so lively.
Yeah,
You know?
you're right.
Do tune in for the final part of the story of Mary Davenport, where Mary continues to clearly and in a wonderful manner tell her story, which includes the passing of Frank, her poetry and her philosophies. That's next week, Mary Davenport on Listen to Older Voices.